Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about an ode on the birthday of George Washington. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, Anna's Boudinot Stockton with this poem is it's a very interesting poem. First we have to start with the title. I mean, the title is an ode, and whenever we're talking about an ode to something, you can definitely think about the poem. It's going to be a poem, being very like admiring something or looking at something or praising something or even really. We can even say it sometimes goes towards the realm of like adoring worship and admiring something, because this poem, whenever you see an ode, think about an ode to a nightingale. Whenever you see an ode to something, it's usually gonna take the thing into detail, to rip it apart piece by piece, say how good it is, how wonderful it is, how majestic, how beautiful, how wonderful. Like if a man says he's writing an ode to his wife, it's going to be some type of love poem or some type of poem that kind of like really goes into the person and says re- genuinely good things about that type of person. So from right the get go, the title of the poem, an ode, on the birthday of George Washington, right here, there's a lot to take in. I mean, from the get go, we can see how Stockton here is saying what a wonderful leader George Washington is. She talks throughout the poem. She talks about his mind, his character, how great of a leader he is, how wonderful that on the day he is born, maybe those days be blessed. She pulls in um, um, Greek vocabulary, if we're thinking about the Greek muses and things like that, she pulls that into the poem. She talks about how he can lead men, how he can pull men, the heroes of the country, he can pull them together to defend the country. She's kind of like, well, throughout the poem, she says, let this country or the United States, she's talking about here, she doesn't want discord. She's saying, or she wants no discord, no controversy, and a leader like George Washington is the right type of individual to do it. She says that this man is set apart. He's been blessed. She kind of wishes all these types of blessings and good wishes and good things upon him. Throughout in the middle of the poem, she talks about his mind, his character, how great of a leader he is, how his policies are wonderful. So she talks about everything from his character, his mind, his political policies, his qualities as a leader, and his quality to lead men and to lead heroes into battle. She talks about even when it comes for him to die, she wants his death to be glorious, not painful, not like in the idea of misery and sorrow, but for his heart to be filled with joy, for his heart to be filled with gladness. So from the day of his birth to the day of his death, she believes that George Washington was a blessing to America and to the country. Everything that he's done, it's kind of like he was destined to do it. It was something from birth that he was destined to do. It was something that he was destined to accomplish. What he did in America and what he meant to America, to its founding, to its creation, to its establishment as a country. And it's kind of like she's saying that the gods had something to do with it, or the muses, or they had something to do with it. They blessed him. He wasn't there alone. It's like there's this angelic push with George Washington to make him what he was and to make him as great as he was. So again, whenever we're looking at an ode in terms of deeper meaning, in terms of analysis here, whenever we're looking into an ode, odes are always like majestical. They're always transformative. They're not just looking at the plain, mundane life or the mundane world that we see, but also it's something transformative. So this poem starts off with he's amazing. He has a great mind. He has great character. But when it goes into this angelic or spiritual or godly sense of him being great, it's something that transformed from the physical human reality to something more within the realm of spiritual and kind of like these angelic or spiritual things that pushed him to be as great as he was, that he had like some type of destiny upon his life. Because you can see how the poem starts very plain. It's a wonderful thing that he was born, and he was blessed since he was born. But then it goes into, he's not alone. Something greater than him has pushed him along to make this country great, to make America great, and all of that has to be taken in while you read this poem and while you take it in. Again, the ending ends well. It's an ending from, you get this sense from the poem that from his birth to his death, she's wishing good things upon him. She's wishing that everything ends up well for him, and that even his death is not a death that is terrible or painful, but it's filled with joy. So those are some things that you get from the poem. I mean, there's much more detail into it, into the other things that he lists about him and his character and what he did. But that's the central idea of what's going on in the poem. And whenever you read an ode, whenever you see a poem that's an ode to something, it's always going to glorify it and say how wonderful it is and how transformative that person is, or that thing is. But that's everything I had to say about the poem. Please remember to give a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.